Good evening. I think it is on.
I'm going to let Wade know we're starting.
It's not on.
Just bang on the gavel. I don't think it's working.
Microphones.
Good evening.
Nope.
Testing.
None of them are.
Cancel the meeting.
We have to go home.
You like on TV?
It's Tom. It's Tom.
Yeah. Ooh, Tom.
He set it all up.
Fine, Tom, a couple minutes.
Okay, which one of you messed with the microphones? If I for a minute.
Test. Breaker 19. Is that what do you do on, like on CB?
Breaker 19.
Breaker 19?
Southbound. Got a copy?
You all out there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. I think that's get it done somehow.
Better not go with that.
I don't have any microphones.
Wade, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
They were going to present tonight, but now we're getting some money. There were two proposals. One was a cost, one was no cost. I asked her to wait until I heard what we're going to have to invest our own money to see how we might modify it.
What?
They've got two proposals.
We're here.
Hello? There we go.
Game on.
So it's good. They were going to present tonight, and I said, well, let's just wait and see what our money situation is.
I figured they'd shut ours off and leave theirs on.
Just yours.
You're live.
Good evening.
There
There we go. This meeting is a meeting of the school board. Excuse me. Good evening. This meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. Visitors requesting permission to address the board on a specific agenda item should sign in before the meeting starts on the form on the board table. The board requests a discussion time limit of 3 minutes on any specific agenda item, and we ask visitors to make only one appearance per item. We ask those addressing the board to speak from the podium and to state their name and address. Board Policy 0167.3 dictates that personnel issues will not be addressed. Concerns about individual employees of the district should be brought to the superintendent or designee. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. As is our custom, we begin with a prayer. If you'll bow with me. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening to do the work of the school district. We pray that you will guide our discussion and the decisions that we make. We pray your blessing on our students and families and staff as they travel over the course of the summer. Amen.
Amen.
The Board of Trustees respectfully request those guests and visitors in attendance be courteous and silence their cell phones. Thank you. Call to order. Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Herr, could you do that, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Merritt is absent, but we still have a quorum present. Mission statement. Mr. Bertrand.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education and do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
Thank you. Good news, Dr. Taylor.
Yes, thank you. Now, although school has been over for a couple weeks, it's still a lot of things going on, mostly with staff. I'm pleased to share that we have had a very robust training with Apple. I've had staff come in, and our instructional technology specialists have been working along with Mrs. Scott. Been doing a lot of work with that. Also had a great meeting with our STEM task force. They've been doing some work in bringing STEM concepts into K-12. And so Mr. McEwen and several of the teachers have been really doing a lot of hard work and looking at how we integrate STEM. So a lot of those behind-the-scenes things that really have influence with programming and provide a lot of the innovation that we have, both in technology but across the curriculum, have really been going on. So while we're busy with our summer cleaning and our repairs. Mr. Tate will give us a little update later on about our summer projects. Really, a lot of staff have been very engaged in training for a variety of different programs and opportunities. So that's the good news we have. But also I'd like to share, I had a chance to speak with Mr. Dax Norton, the town manager at Whitestown, and he did confirm that Whitestown has committed $25,000 in support of the Perry Worth School Resource Officer Program. And with that, I really am very excited to share that I've had a couple of conversations with Mayor Gentry, representing the city of Lebanon, and has gone above and beyond in his presentation and legitimate concern about school safety for Lebanon Community Schools, and is working with the city council as we speak to provide a sizable contribution that would allow us to place an SRO officer in every school, full-time, dedicated, and not only just that placement of the officer, but also the training, the programming, working with students. I can't say enough about how impressed I've been with Mayor Gentry's initiative, his proactive approach, and more than anything, his sincerity about really concerned about making sure Lebanon Community Schools are safe. So both our communities have really stepped up, and it's under good news. It comes as a sad result of current events, but I can say that I'm very proud to be associated with both Whitestown and Lebanon, and they're responding above and beyond what most would expect. And with that, Chief Smith has been actively engaged in looking at different programs and opportunities and personnel. So his summer has been consumed with that to this date, and hopefully we'll have something confirmed from the city for the July meeting. But we're moving forward with the target of having an SRO officer in every building on the first day of school. So hopefully that comes true for us. So a lot of good things happening. Although the school buildings are closed down, the kids are at the swimming pool and in the park and at the Little League Diamond and working. A lot of good things are going on, and we're looking forward to the start of school. It's going to be here in just a few short months. So that's the good news I bring to the board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on any of that?
I just have, yesterday it was on news that Zionsville is getting some money from the county. Is the county going to be able to help us with any of that?
We've not talked to the county, but to be honest, both Perry Worth and our 5 schools within Center Township all fall under the jurisdiction of the Lebanon Police Force. And as a result, Western Boone is having support from the county, and Zionsville, some support from the county. A couple of things we've talked about. We really would like to have those SRO officers work for Lebanon Community School Corporation instead of, quote, on loan. And the reason behind that is that, sometimes when people are on loan, other things take priority and they get called out and there's nothing, against that concept, but we really have felt comfortable in having our own SRO department here because they are committed and they are dedicated to protecting and providing services for our community schools. I'm sure if I went to Sheriff Nielsen and said, hey, Mike, we'd like some money, he'd step up. But because of the great response we've gotten from Whitestown and specifically from Lebanon City, we don't really feel it's necessary. And protection in Zionsville schools and Western Boone schools is just as important as protection in Lebanon schools. So it's a matter of maximizing the contribution and not being greedy, but trying to be efficient. So to answer the question, Mr. Burch, I know Sheriff Nielsen's been actively involved in things like ALICE training and supporting us with different functions and organizational coverage for some of our ball games and things like that. And his officers are right there to respond. But as far as actually placing a school resource officer in every school, we've not really reached out to the county for that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 2, approval of minutes for the May 15th regular meeting and May 31st special session. I'd like to take those together, please.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Any questions or comments on those? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Audience to visitors, there is no one signed in. So we'll move on to Employee of the Month, Dr. Taylor.
Yes, it's my honor at this time. We have an Employee of the Month that it comes highly recommended and truly deserving, and that's Kathy Doherty. Kathy's at Perry Worth. Kathy, could you join me, please? Kathy has kind of taken Perry Worth as her focus and her efforts, and it says ownership of responsibility. When we ask people to share with us a little bit about why Kathy comes to
Might need to reterm that a little bit. Item 5, consent agenda for routine business matters. Mr. Tate.
Yes, present the financial report for the end of the month of May. Our financial report shows these percents expended as of May 31st. Our general fund at 39.45%, transportation operation at 37.87%. At this time, I'd ask for approval of claims numbered 45721 through 45952, and the payrolls dated May 25th and June 8th. The claims total $6,416,516.41. The payrolls total $1,652,577.26, for a total of $8,069,093.67. Again, the claims are higher than normal as we've had some debt payments this month.
Okay.
For our 6-month debt payments. So ask for approval of those claims and payrolls at this time.
Okay, I'd like a motion to approve the claims as submitted and payrolls for May 25th and June 8th, 2018, please.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Any further questions on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6, agenda for routine staff matters. Dr. Taylor.
Thank you, Ms. Keith. As has been past practice, I would ask the board to take as a consent agenda the items under classified employees, certified employees, staff communications, and ECA. This evening I'm presenting for the board's review and consideration under classified employees, students that are working for us over the summer. Their summer temporary hires are doing temporary work both in technology and building and grounds. It's a tradition. We've done that. We also have an individual that is providing tutor support, educational support on an extended school year. And at this time, we're asking the renewal of our current SROs, Chief Smith, Officer Hendricks, and Officer Abbott. Their contracts are up for renewal. Also then under certified staff, we have Ms. Leslie Henniger, Director of Guidance and Head Counselor here at the high school, has submitted her letter of resignation effective at the end of her 2017-2018 school year. Recommending the acceptance of that with regret. Mrs. Henniger has served the corporation well, both as a classroom teacher at the middle school and as a counselor. Also, Ms. Robin Lynn Klein, special ed teacher at Harney, is requesting maternity leave of absence, which will be effective July 24th of 2018 through November 5th of 2018. And Hannah Heikwit, kindergarten teacher at Hattie B. Stokes, is requesting a maternity leave of absence for September 20th of 2018 through March 2019. Under staff communication this evening, Dr. Taggart is recommending Maggie Frazee as a first grade teacher and Sam Godby as a 5th grade teacher at Perry Worth. That recommendation is endorsed also by Mrs. Moore. Dr. Taggart and Mrs. Outcout are recommending Andrew Olson for the physical education position that will be shared between Central Elementary and Perry Worth. Again, that is endorsed by Mrs. Moore as well. Dr. Dye at Harney Elementary is recommending Lisa Bergen for art and Michelle Walton for special education. I would point out that special education is a new hire position for a new position at Harney this year, so that is not a replacement. Mr. Dungy is recommending Nathan Marcus, former Lebanon High School student, for PE and Health, and Mr. Larry Oringer for Special Education, Life Skills. Again, I'll point to the board. That is a new position that we are putting back into the middle school. We had it for several years. We did not replace that several years ago, and the need has created the opportunity for us to replace that. And then I'm recommending, the board has already approved the employment of Ms. Moore as principal at Perry Worth. I'm recommending the board consider her salary and benefits as provided in the supplemental contract that's been shared with the board. Mrs. Shriver, Director of Joint Services, is recommending a contract renewal for Rebecca Durbin at a rate of $51 per hour. Mrs. Durbin is the SLP, speech and language person, and she is a contract employee. She works for us as contract, not as a full-time. Mr. Levine, Athletic Director at the high school and Assistant Principal, is recommending Phil Garber for the Lebanon High School Fall Visual Instructor's position, and Mr. Jacob King for the Lebanon High School Head Wrestling, Varsity Wrestling Coach, and Mr. Craig Howe as the Head Swim Coach, Swim and Dive Coach. Mr. Howe currently is an employee with us and is coming back to take over the program, and so we're excited about that. In addition, Mr. Levine is providing recommendations for fall sports for 2018. I won't read those individually, but the board has those in your background notes. They're for football, volleyball, tennis, cross country, boys soccer, girls soccer, cheerleading, and golf. And there are also volunteers listed with that. So those are all the personnel presentation and requests we're providing to the board this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Quite a bit. Like a motion to approve all of those staff matters as presented, the classified, certified, staff communication, ECA.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Second. Any questions on any of those items?
What is a fall visual instructor position?
Works with marching band, assistant band, works with Al.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but I guess I would equate it to the winter guard kind of position that we've had for a traditional long time. And so this is in support of the marching band.
So we've had this position before, right?
Yes,
It looks like Mr. Dungy might.
He'd like to try out.
Takes a little coordination, I think, and so, Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Thank you.
And then, did Craig Howell, he used to be a head coach?
I don't think Mr. Howe was head swim coach. Mr. Howe was involved in the swimming program when his children were here, and as his children have gotten older, he's continued to remain here as a social studies teacher, but he has coached at both Brebeuf.
Yeah, he was head coach at Vermont, and he did coach at Washington Township.
Yeah.
Recently, the last couple of years, he's been assistant at Tigerville and working with Tigerville.
Okay.
Club coach. Yeah. So he comes with previous head coaching experience.
Yeah, I thought he was here.
Is that Larry Organ for the special needs? Is he from within the corporation?
Mr. Oringer was employed at the middle school for, I believe, 3 years or 4 years, and when we had a reduction in student need, we transferred him to Hattie B. Stokes, and I think he was there for 2 years, and then elected to look for another position. I think middle school, secondary was more his forte, and so when we found the need to recreate this position, Mr. Dungy, and he was a good employee. Again, if you've been in those rooms, you know it takes a special individual. And Larry did a good job, and I think Doyle felt very comfortable. So when we approached him, Mr. Dungy approached him, he was very eager to come back to Lebanon Middle School. He really liked that, and so he's excited to be here.
So with that hire, is that moving a lot that used to be here? I know because we moved a lot of students over to the high school. Are they moving more back to the middle school?
We're going to move down, but we're going to trade from
Up.
bottom up. We're going to let it go from the bottom. It's not fair for a kid that's transferred over to high school and is in that program and ready to go, so they're not going to move them back down. But they're going to transfer up as they move out of the elementary program back
Okay.
to middle school. So
Okay.
they'll go from the bottom up.
Okay. That's a good deal.
And you made mention Nathan Marcos, he graduated from here?
He did. hate to
Sam
age
Godby.
myself,
Yeah,
but
that's what
Nathan
you said,
Marcus spent a day or two in my office when I was principal at the middle school
Well, that's great.
20 years ago. And
Student of the month. He was the
student of the month. Thank you. But
Quick thinking there, Charles.
excellent young man. Came through, graduated from Lebanon High School. Is currently, help me here. Doyle, is he at is it IPS? Yeah, but where's he teaching at now?
Middle school.
He was at Tri-West.
Tri-West.
Recently he was in
Wayne
Wayne Township.
Township. Yeah, good young man. I had a brother Cole that came through here, so I hate to date myself, but
Well, that's 2 Lebanon graduates.
Yeah, Sam Godby.
Same as
Yeah.
fourth generation.
Sam Godby.
Sam
another
Godby,
Lebanon,
yeah.
Will be fourth generation.
I know three for
Three.
sure.
3,
Is it 3?
3.
Yeah.
Grandma,
Yeah.
mom, aunt,
Mm-hmm.
cousin. I think so.
Great.
Okay.
Anything else on
Other
those?
questions?
All right. Motion's on the table to approve those. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's my pleasure this evening, Mr. Levine. I believe we have our new high school wrestling coach here.
Yes, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce to the board Jacob King. We're very excited. Jacob's been in our program for a while at both levels, high school and middle school. Former wrestler. He's like moving for this evening. He's a graduate from Student Athlete here. And we're excited that he's coming aboard. He's got some tremendous new ideas and really ready to go. I just appreciate the opportunity. This is where I'm going to be. Helping out high school us for years. Just work twice now, just doing a house every night. This is where I'm at.
Great.
Well, Jacob, welcome. And as the board likes to say, we're behind you, win or win. So good luck.
Can I just say one, not looking at Jacob, I know you're not allowed to speak to me, but Craig Al was going to be here this evening as well, but he's driving his daughter back from college orientation, so I just want to mention as well. So he thanks the board, I thank the board on his behalf for accepting the work to the city for student body program, and he's already the last 2 weeks been working with the club school program.
Thank you, Ms. Levine.
Thanks.
And then Dr. Taggart, Ms. Alcal, Ms. Moore, I think we have a new hire here for physical education. So if one of you would like to introduce Andy, please.
We're very pleased to have Andy Olson this evening. And he is coming from Monrovia, and also Phil is happy to have him on as assistant on football, coaching staff as well. So we're happy to have Andy on both staff. So excited to meet you, Dr. After interviews.
What?
Andy, any comment?
Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Hopefully I don't let you down on Friday nights this fall. We've come from a lot of success at Monrovia. I hope to bring that here, get the program rolling in the right direction. Can't wait to play with the kids at the elementary, run around, have a good time in Houston, healthy outcome. So, thank you.
Well, you come highly recommended, and all the administrators are very, very positive, and so I know Mr. Levine and Mr. Smock also. So we're excited about having you here. I just was curious, if we'd not voted you in, what would you have done with your shirt? I'm a pretty serious guy, so you know, I don't know. Well, Mr. Levine, you either got a lot more to say, or you're.
I know Andy sold himself, and he was terrific in the interview, but I do want to thank the principals and the assistant principal for the elementary school, because it is a difficult challenge for us at the high school and the middle school trying to get coaches in, and them taking, again, I know Andy sold himself, but did a fantastic job, them taking a chance on hiring coaches that we need up at high school. And I appreciate that, so I want to thank you.
Thank you. Randy and Jacob, thank you for coming. You'll find, and you already know, you've been here, Lebanon Community School Corporation is a great place. And we're looking at how we develop young men and women whether that's in the classroom or whether that's on the fields or the courts or the mats. And we look forward to having your influence in helping them become better young men and women, better citizens. And, you know, if they have some success on the athletic field, great, or on the wrestling mat, fine. But basically, we want you to make sure that you are a good mentor. And by every indication, we've hired two great individuals. And so welcome to Lebanon Community School Corporation. I'm excited to have you here. So thank you very much. Thank you, Board. Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, item 7, Mr. Tate, recommendation for $5 million GO bond.
Yeah, bring to the board this evening, I'm requesting permission to move forward with the publish the notice of hearing for the July 17th meeting. We've discussed the possibility of issuing a $5 million GO bond. I've worked together with our financial advisor on a 4-year payment plan. It looks like it'll be approximately 9 cents per year for 4 years on the tax rate, depending on what our assessed value does, but it'll be in that range. I've also put in your background, and I gave you a hard copy at your seat, proposed projects 4 years out for use of these funds. Also remind the board this is kind of a strategic move to take some pressure off the operations fund and the education fund to allow us to do some things for staffing and for building repairs and equipment. So, entertain any comments or questions at this time?
Sorry, shuffling papers. Okay, I'd like a motion to approve the $5 million GO bond, please.
I'll make that motion.
And a second. Any questions on that?
On that, you said 9 cents over 4 years, but don't we have some debt coming off that's gonna kinda
We
take
do.
care of some of that?
Yes, that's correct. And at our budget work session, I'll kind of show you the long range on these of how some's going off, some's coming on.
So the ultimate impact won't be probably won't be the full 9.
No, it won't be the full 9 cents. And again, if our assessed value continues to climb as it has in the past, I try and stay within the dollar plus or minus 3 cents, and we can manage that, I think. I've got to put all the pieces of the puzzle together yet, but I'm getting pretty close to that.
You did miss it last year.
I know.
So.
I think I've missed
To
it
the
2
good.
years in a row.
Yeah.
It's in his evaluation.
To the right way.
We're
You
good
know,
with that.
Yeah, we're 100%.
They did fire us, a person that did the budget wrong down south, didn't
They
they?
did, but he was 1.2 million off, so
In the wrong direction.
that's your benchmark, yes, in the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction.
Forget the plus or minus 3 cents. I think you're good with the board as long as you don't plus or minus $1 million.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Any other questions on that?
Thanks, Charles, for spending time on that.
Thank you.
That's something that we are very fortunate at this corporation to have somebody that really looks over our financials and keeps us in good running order.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Charles, on the 2019 projects, I see at Perry Worth, it says add parking.
Yeah, that's been one of their requests, is when they have activities at that building, there's just not enough parking. We'll probably be looking in the back of expanding parking in the back.
Where would we expand in the back?
There's no place to put in the front.
Back where the
Well, but
propane, remember where the propane tank
Yeah.
used to be back
Oh,
there?
yeah, okay.
So we moved that out several years ago
Yeah.
and moving what would be north.
There's plenty of space north by the wetlands,
Yeah, up
Yeah.
to
north of that
That's right.
drive.
I forgot
And there's
that.
an entry door there for the gymnasium cafeteria area.
Says here at the high school, the workout room,
The roof over the gymnasium and the workout room, correct.
so it's it's the roof.
It's the roof.
Okay.
The roof work for the gym and the workout room.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. So those are just proposed projects, and if you add it, it's 5.3 million, but some of our estimates historically are on the high side, so as we bid these out, we'll pace it over the 4 years and work with that, work those dollars. And again, tonight's kind of an informal approval, so I can advertise, and then the formal resolutions will start next month, and
Right.
Kent will be here, and we'll work towards getting these funds in 2018 and start paying the debt in 2019.
Okay. Any other questions on that? motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Oh, sorry. Too fast.
I'm for it.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8, approval to install kindergarten first grade playground at
Okay.
Central. Mr. Tate.
Been working on this for about 3 months. What was in your background notes is not the same as what I've placed in front of you. It's the same company. Ms. Outcall, Dawn, Jim Whaling, and I met with the sales rep Monday, Melissa Guffey, for Recreation Insights. Still trying to meet the needs of the students. There were some equipment changes to get us more within the budget range that I wanted to be. The large paper is a rendition of the playground. What is missing there is the current kindergarten playground on the front side of Central, there is one piece of equipment there with some slides, tube slides, that we're gonna move to the back side of Central. So this will be in the back of Central on the south side of the property is our proposed area. This is about 70 by 90 feet. It has that equipment that's there. There's more renditions of the equipment, the spinner bowls, the Spica 3, the garden seesaw with a back, and a hammock for a play area for the kids. So this is intended for kindergarten and first grade. The playground that they have now is inadequate and aged. So my request tonight is to move ahead with the purchase of this equipment and installation. There's extra cost. We have to do some grading and some drainage and provide an ADA ramp to this area and some chips, wood chips. So we're probably looking at another $20,000 to $25,000 to get the area ready and to complete it. So when I asked for your permission of not to exceed $90,000, I'm comfortable we'll be within that range now that I've trimmed the equipment a little bit. But I feel very comfortable that this will meet the needs of all the kindergarten students in first grade at this time. And then the long-range plans, if you saw on the GEO bond, the following summer, we hope to take out almost all the equipment on the north side of Central's playground and replace that with new. Again, that's aged, a lot of it's not safe. It needs to be removed and taken care of. So I'm asking permission to contract with Recreation Insights for this equipment at $61,900, which includes installation and then them relocating the current slide structure that we have back to this area.
Okay, I'd like a motion to approve the installation of the playground as submitted, not to exceed $90,000, please.
And these funds will come from our current GEO bond. We have about $400,000 left in that GEO bond after we pay for the middle school roof, the middle school asphalt, through bids coming in lower. So we have money to use for this playground without touching CPF, and we'll still have some other money left for future projects that we can use the GEO bond for.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
A second. Do these swings, when you're on them, does one leg come up out of the ground and kind of rock back like the others do?
No, they will be very anchored.
Oh.
Yeah. No, they'll be
That's no
okay.
fun.
They'll be safe.
Safety first.
My question is, I mean, I understand we got to do this. Central, where's the capacity at on Central?
All the classrooms being utilized, but there's room in the classrooms. So there might be 20, 22 students. So there's room in the classrooms,
Okay.
but all the classrooms are being utilized.
Okay.
And this equipment, that's a good question. So I'll lead into the next. You know, if the usage of Central changes, this equipment can be relocated.
Oh, okay.
It's a sleeve structure that will be pinned in underground. So if we ever need to move it, all we have to do is bury the concrete and go set some new concrete on the site.
Is this that playground that's fenced in now?
The current kindergarten playground is fenced in on the front side of Central,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So this one will
This
not
is
be
going on the
fenced in?
south side.
No, this will be an open area in the back. We do plan on putting a fence along the boundary line,
Okay.
the property line on that south side. Yes.
Can it get done before school starts?
No, most likely it's gonna be September is the date that we're gonna be looking at, hopefully to have it installed.
those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll move forward with that.
Okay. Item 9, second reading of policy 5341. Dr. Taylor, please.
Yes, this is second reading. We presented this at the last board meeting. 5341 is the emergency medical authorization policy. It's where we will distribute annually to parents or guardians of all students the emergency medical authorization form. In the event that the emergency medical treatment for a student is necessary, the corporation will use that form to adhere to the instructions to support students. In essence, too, they will be kept in separate, easily accessible place in each building. So if students go on field trips or they're taken out on different projects, then these forms will accompany the students, and it'll allow teachers then to provide access to any medical needs that parents have identified for students.
Okay.
So this is the second reading, and we'll bring this back for final approval next week. Is there any questions on second reading?
Nope. Good. Okay, thank you. All right, item 10, approval of policy 8640.
This is the final reading, and the approval requested for this. This is transportation for field and other corporation-sponsored trips. Just to remind the board, what we did was simply add a line referring to the cost of the driver and who will be responsible paying for that. In essence, the sponsoring organization from the designated fund. So we sponsor a field trip, we pay for the driver. We don't tack that on to another outside organization. Okay. But this is if you're in your background notes, you should have had a highlighted statement. That's the statement we added to the policy. Delete it? No, we took that out, I'm sorry. But there's no cost involved. Correct. Okay. So we'd need a board approval of this at this time.
Okay. So, the same as we've read the last two meetings. So I'd like a motion to approve policy 8640.
Make that motion.
And a second, please.
Second.
Any questions on that policy? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
All right, first reading of policy 5330.
5330 is the use of medications. This policy is a result of the nurses and Mrs. Scott doing some work and looking at how students and families are allowed to have medications brought into school and what basically is defined as the containers and the process they have and who administers these medications. For example, only medication is the original container, and if a prescription labeled with the date, the student's name, and the exact dosage will be administered. And at the elementary level, parents will need to bring those in and pick them up. At the secondary level, students can bring them in and pick them up. So this is just an opportunity to redefine how meds are brought in and out of school by students at the different levels, elementary, middle, and high school.
So clarification from what
Correct.
we've been doing so. Questions on that?
And we'll bring this back for
Thank you.
both these two. This one will be brought back, and then a single point of entry. We'll bring those back for second reading next month.
Okay, so the first reading of the single point of entry protocol, please.
Correct. Single point of entry protocol, we talked about that. That's another safety measure we've taken. We will be installing video cameras as well as controlled access in all of our buildings, including the administration building. And the single point of entry will go along with that in that specified times during the day after school started. Then right before school ends, we will only have one entrance and access to the schools. And so this policy is designed and was the contribution to this was made by the faculty school security safety advisory team, and that's co-chaired by Mrs. Totterud, so she's here this evening as well. But what we're trying to do is define for staff and then for community how that policy will be implemented and what entails in that policy. The changes will be basically there's no more free access into our school buildings. Mm-hmm. After kids get into the building, we will then shut all of our other exits. We'll have one, for example, here at the high school, will be just the front exit. That'll be controlled. You'll have to buzz in, and then you'll be allowed, if you know, from some point within the front office or an administrator will go ahead and unlock that door with a buzzer, an exterior door, not an interior door, and then you can enter. Once you're in the building, all the policies will remain the same. You go to the front office first. That's still controlled access. You have to go through the Raptor program if you're coming into the building. You have to, if you're picking up a child, you'll wait there for that. Or if you're going for a meeting, we have meetings, special needs meetings and such, then, you'll be escorted to the meeting internally.
So somebody's can walk in the front door. Is there gonna be any remodeling? Because if they're, say the high school, and coming in that front door, then do they get buzzed to then get into the office?
No, the buzz will occur outside. So the modifications will be a video camera system which will be monitoring the front door. And then after a certain time, once the kids are in and at what point, basically here, for example, when kids come in at 7:40 in the morning until classes start, say at 8 or 8:05, then 8:15, when the tardies have all come in, basically, anyone that wants in after that point would present themselves at the single entrance. You could see them on the video. They'd press basically a button, and then the office would have access to take a look and see. It's not foolproof, but it slows down access. So if it's a parent they recognize or a student that's coming in from a medical appointment or something like that, they will be buzzed in. And once they're buzzed in, then they can come into the front office, present themselves, sign in. Here's my reason I'm late. Here's what I want to do. I'm dropping off a package. I'm picking up a child. The front office then will manage that situation as they have in the past. But it's all about not allowing people direct access into the building. And it was designed specifically to help the receptionist. For example, the receptionist at the high school cannot see who's coming into the building until they're already in. Same thing at Central. Same thing at the middle school. Harney, you may be able to see a little, but not a lot. So this was more for those first impression people, the people that are greeting at the front desk. There was no way to help determine, was this person, coming in with some intent? Did they have a weapon? This allows you to get a look, and then you get to say you're coming in or you're not coming in.
Is the camera then, are they gonna have face, is it gonna be up top, facing
Yes.
down on angle, or straight at the face?
I think Don and his group are installing that hardware now. I don't know, Charles.
It'll be a facial yes, it can take a picture of the whole body, but it's a picture of the face, but then there's a voice box there to converse to. It's like, so when they press the button, the secretary will be able to see who's standing out there
Right.
and say, may I ask your name, what business are you here for?
Okay.
And
It's the same
then,
thing
so
Western
that's all outside.
Right.
They are not coming in until the secretary feels comfortable with their reason for being there.
Yeah.
Is this gonna only be at this main entrance?
Right now, we're at one point in every building.
Because I know, like, going into the athletic side, you have to ring the doorbell, and then either Phil or Jennifer has to come out. So I didn't know if that's something that maybe we need to look at.
We
that
may
too.
add another one here after we see how this one works, but we talked about that. But if it's someone that wants to get to athletics, they'll just have to be escorted down this hall. They still can't get into the building, but then come into Phil's office down the
Right.
Herman B. Wells hallway.
Still on,
Now,
so-
we've talked with Phil. There's a chance that we could put one here. Depends on the volume.
Right.
What we're not going to do is put one at every entrance, and so as I've shared before, this will be a bit of an inconvenience initially, but I think in the sense of how it provides a little more security to the front office personnel, the inconvenience is worthwhile.
So when we say single point of entry, so when the school is open we're bringing students in, they'll still be able to come in all avenues.
Every building has a minimum of 2 entrance points, one for transportation or buses, and one for drop-offs, or in this case, the high school parking lot. Because of the volume of kids that come in, they'll still be able to come in. Part of this policy will also be dealing with students that come in for ECA clubs in the morning or swimming practice. Those now have to be with a sponsor. You just can't say, I want to come in.
Right.
Now, this is going to be a challenge because some of our students, especially our elementary students, they get dropped off at 45 to an hour before in our middle school students. The problem is that's cheap childcare, but we have base for those students that opportunities for parents. And so, we're going to have to use our SROs and our administrators to be a little more diligent in notifying parents that, hey, this can't happen. You can't drop a child off at 6:45 in the morning. So this will have some growth and it will have some learning curves and we'll have some phone calls, but I think we have to be consistent in our application. But, we have swimmers in here at 5 in the morning, but if the coach is here, that's all right. And because of the nature of our business, we have, in this building alone, we have about 1,100 people coming in within a span of about 15 minutes. You can't have single point of entry because it'd take you 3 hours to get everybody in. So this is basically during the school day, when students are in class, teachers are in the classroom, and you have those folks that make, for whatever reason, pick up, drop off, delivery guy, whatever, we're there. But you have to identify the purpose and the reason you're here, or they have to recognize you as someone that has a purpose for being here.
How is it set up now? Okay, you do this and somebody goes to back by the pool or something and just cracks the door and puts a rock in there. Is there a signal, or do we know now if a door is left open just a little bit at the back of the school?
There's no signal alert to that. So it's just we're working with staff, kind of retraining. The school advisory team has actually talked about some consequences for folks that can do that. Every teacher has a FOB, administrator. If you're found to be kind of abusing that security, then maybe limit your access to having access across the board, maybe have you come in. But no, there's no alert that goes off that this door's cracked. And we deal with that, because it's convenient. My car's parked out back, my classroom's
Oh,
in
right.
this.
I'm just saying, like during
Yeah.
the day, if a kid's wanting to be a wise ass and he puts a rock there to let somebody else
So,
in.
what I've experienced is generally kids, it's not that they're doing it mischievously. We have some polite kids. So I've got to correct my way, because if I forget my keys, I go to a door, I knock, they see me, they're not sure who I am, but I've got a suit on and I'm there and they're polite and they open the door, can I help you? Oh yeah, I'm coming in. We got to stop that, even for someone, an employee. So it's not a matter of just cracking it open. Teachers are probably the biggest offenders when it comes to putting something to block the door open. Because my hands are full, I don't want to unlock it, I have 101 reasons, I understand. But students that allow people to come in, we have to start working on that. And actually, Chief Smith and I have been talking about, those are the kind of programs that these SROs will be able to work with kids during the day in classrooms. So here's some things, guys. It's not just, let's learn about how, see something, say something, stranger danger. Here's the different things. And so now we're going to have programming, so it's just not school resource officers in there for security, but they'll have programming with all the students that they can really work on this. So it's an effort, Dave, to try to make us a little more secure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
it
that's the right
foolproof?
thing.
No.
I just wondered if,
Yeah.
there was
No.
a beep or something.
Mhm.
The famous mat flipped over to hold the door from closing all the way, or, a lot of that. And let's be honest, years past, never was a big issue. Why do we worry about it? Now, it's an issue we have to focus on. We have to retrain, retool, and in many cases, there's going to have to be consequences for not following the rules. Ms. Totter, is there anything you would like to add to that, or did we pretty much cover? Okay. So this is the first reading. We'll have a second reading in July and an approval in August if the board sees fit, and we'll have this implemented at the start of school.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Approve LMS one-to-one laptop information for addition to the handbook. Mr. Dunshee.
Mr. Butler, thank you for coming. Thank you.
Mr. Butler.
I'm the older-looking version of Mr. Butler. It probably looked very, very familiar to you, the policy that you're reading through there, because essentially it's the high school policy with the LMS name on it. The only major changes we made to it is we don't have after-school detentions, so we have lunch detentions. So everything is pretty well lined up. We changed the the Friday schools to Tuesday schools and Thursday schools. I know the high school did that as well. And the main reason we're bringing it to you today is we didn't have it in policy because we weren't take-home, and we also didn't have it in our handbook. Now that our handbook is going to be electronic, we wanted to add it to the handbook for next year, so it's a pretty easy transition. So there really isn't anything new or different from what the high school policy reads, so it should be very similar. We're trying to model everything we do with it, from the distribution to everything we do, so that parents are used to it when they start as a 6th grade. They know it all the way through until they're a senior.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the laptop information for the handbook for middle school, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions? And will this start immediately? They'll start taking their laptops home at
Yep,
the
we're
start
going
of
to
the
do
school year?
distribution in the summer, just like the high
Okay.
school does. We haven't set a date yet. We still probably need to have a community meeting with our parents yet to roll some of that out. Most of them are familiar because they've seen the high school version. But we need to do that for some of our incoming sixth graders that this is first time kid going through. They might not know all the protocols. And I'm still working with the tech department to say, how do they do 1,000 at the high school and 850 of ours, and do them all in a 2 or 3 day span there in the summer so that they can do it, because they're going to have to help us roll them out.
Do we still have like a week before school starts, you come and check out the middle school? I mean, would that be
Yeah,
a meeting?
we're still doing that during registration days.
Right.
So we're going to do that, and we're looking at putting it somewhere in that time frame. With having the extra registration days, one at the fair and one in Whitestown this next time, it's a little bit more cramped because there are actually more opportunities to register, and we're putting staff out at those.
Yeah.
So we got to fit that in somewhere where we're not overlapping one of those dates.
Okay.
I have a question, something different. You said on that, no more Friday schools, it's Tuesday, Thursday. Have you already started doing that?
We did that with all of our other things, Tuesdays and Thursdays this last year. Liked it. The biggest thing we had was on a Friday, kids are pretty good at saying, you know what, I'll get with my buddies, we'll hide in here, we're out the door. They're not going to see me till Monday, I'll worry about the consequences when I get there. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, they don't go on Tuesday, I see you on Wednesday, we come in, we have a chat first thing Wednesday morning, and it gets immediate consequences, they're right back in. We had less skips this year than we've had in any year.
Okay, good.
And the only other thing is like the cost of ours is a little different too. If you look at the amount we're charging towards book rental, and I've worked with Mr. Tate, we're not a fully digital curriculum. The high school is more fully digital. We're still partially paper pencil, partially digital. We're working that direction, but we're not there yet. So to keep book rental in line where Mr. Tate wants it, ours is only $50 instead of the high school's version.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item 14, approval of use of corporate credit card. Mr. Tate.
Ask board approval to issue 2 credit cards, one to Amber Moore, one to Jen Totterud, with a credit limit of $2,500.
Okay. I'd like a motion to approve those corporation credit cards.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion
Thank you.
passes. New business, Mr. Tate.
Okay, I have 2 field trips, one for Central Elementary to Camp Tecumseh. This is an annual trip, date September 5th and 6th. The background information was provided to you in a letter from Jenny Harrison, Amanda Hall, and supported by Mrs. Outcalt. And the second request for the trip is the high school 10 students overnight to the Indianapolis Zoo, October 4th and 5th. And again, the background notes are provided for you. Request came from Lynn O'Brien, supported by Mr. O'Rourke, so I have request approval for both of those overnight trips.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the trips to Camp Tecumseh and the Indianapolis Zoo, please.
Make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
trips
And
pass.
at this time, I take the opportunity to update you on some of the projects this summer. We don't have as many as we've had in the past, thank goodness. We do have roof work going on at the middle school, the auxiliary gymnasium. The parking lot at the middle school is near completed. They have to put in a transition strip between each lot. Central Elementary has all the carpet in the hallway removed. Tile's been replaced with that. We still have to put base cove in, and we're still redoing the office area. And Harney, the carpet in the hallway has been removed, and the tile's being installed at this time. So all those projects are going as scheduled. So,
Okay, very good, thank you. Any other business? Anybody?
The school corporation support a 4th of July parade here. It's been requested to provide a couple of floats or vehicles, so we'll be providing a school bus and decorating that out. And then Chief Smith will be having an SRO vehicle and an officer participate. So we will have a presence in the 4th of July.
Very nice, thank you.
I think there's somebody here tonight that is their last meeting.
You're not coming back? Or?
Yeah, it's me.
Surprise!
I didn't know if there was an announcement or not. I'm sorry.
I didn't know if the young Amber Haggard would like to say anything.
Young Amber Taggart.
No, I did. Last month it was hard because I was afraid I didn't show up. This month I've had the opportunity to celebrate really, and I know more about where the fair is going, and I'm excited for that. But thank you. I don't know how to be more genuine or more. There's no better way that I can say that than thank you. It's been. I've had 10 of the most blessed years that I think that I could possibly have as part of the London schools, and I cannot begin to say how much I've grown in those 10 years, and I've been blessed enough to have 2 of your children. So two of your children in Prairie Woods, and it's been a huge honor, and I've just been very, very, very grateful. So yes, it is the last word for me, and thank you.
Yep.
There's no better way to say that.
Well, thank you. We wish you all the best in your new position.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
And I'm sure Mrs. Ottinger will be upset with me tomorrow, but I will share as a departing note that it appears Perry Worth's iRead scores had 100% passing.
Woohoo!
The only elementary school in Lebanon. So Amber's done a phenomenal job, has grown tremendously, and has made great contribution, and will be missed, but we're excited. She's not going that far up the road. We'll be looking forward to hearing some things that are happening in Lafayette, and we're excited then about having Amber versus Amber. It was the best move I could have made. I mean,
Can't mess up,
Simplified
can
your
you?
world.
AMAT, and so anyway, so we're excited. Thank you, Mr. Herb. Very appropriate for recognizing that.
I kept it short and sweet, Mr. Herb.
Perfect. Thank you. 3 minutes.
Anyone else? Any other business? Okay. Our next meeting is, I had it right in front of me. July 19th. That says June 19th, but this is June 19th.
We're
So-
coming back
July
next week.
17th.
Oh, so typo.
Glad we got that.
I can't do it.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.